Fellow sinners, this day is upon us. The Vasari invasion is inevitable, and the first Vasari ships have already arrived in the TES galactic sector. We are currently witnessing how the Vasari ships are simply destroying the TES fortification forces. And without further ado, let's talk about the most recent Sins 2 patch. For this, I would like to leave this game currently and restart it. As you can see, we can play as Vasari, but currently it's only Vasari Rebels. So for TES, we can play as Loyalists and Rebels. For Vasari, it's just the Rebels. Let's get settings up to high and go directly into the game. Now, let's pause directly. And what is going on? Why are those ships flying and where is my planet? You might ask. And with Sins 2, the devs have decided to make a more lore-accurate approach where Vasari ships, or Vasari Empire, is not established in the test sector. It's actively invading into the sector. So you begin without any planets and you're incoming, but you have a small fleet which basically invades the planet. Those ships are flying here. We can also directly talk about minor factions. For TES, you don't know their location. They are usually somewhere in the middle of the galaxy or star system. However, as Vasari, you can already see them, and we'll talk about them a bit later. For now, let's continue flying toward the planet. The homeworld planet for Vasari is always a Pharaoh's planet, and the invasion fleet consists out of 3 Ravastras, the colonizator capital ship Jerusalem Evacuator, and 2 scouts. Also, many players wanted to see scouts having some weapons. Well, guess what? Vasari scouts do have weapons, with quite nice DPS of 3. And since the Star Trek planet doesn't have any bombing frigates, you can actually directly colonize the planet. But first of all, let's talk about this specific module. It's Exodus Supplies, which will directly install a planet item on a planet. So Vasari capital ship or first capital ship doesn't get the exotic resources guarantee or whatever it's called, but you get another special ability. So let's colonize it. Also, what you can see directly is that Vasari are not having any credits, and they are actually barely using any credits and will not have any normal credit income, so they don't have trade ports. And how their basic economy is around metal and crystal. You still can make some credits via auctions, some special items, and later into the game you'll have a planet item which will allow you to get somewhat of a credit income. And you can use that credit income then in return at the auctions and at the market. Because like right now, if I would want to sell, like buy crystal, I would have to sell metal, and yeah, like getting 50 credits per 100 metal, that would mean that for 100 crystal I would need to sell 800 metal. But if I already had some of the credit income, it would help me with the trade. Now let's look at the planet. As you mentioned, there is no credit income, so there are no commerce upgrades. You can concentrate on mining upgrades. We should also begin with the research lab so that I can show a few basic researches. And you can see the planet item I talked about. Our capital ship no longer has any module, but our capital planet has this ability where we can send an overseer tower to any friendly planet or to the neutrals, because neutrals are counted as friendly planets. You can use it on your home world for extra firepower, but it doesn't bring that much of firepower as it's more of a support ship. So the better decision would be to send them directly to a minor faction, as those overseers are also serving as diplomats. You can see already one warping in. And they have this minor faction favor rate of 1, which can be upgraded to 2, which means that every second you're earning a favor point. So at this rate we will get next favor level with this neutral faction in 2000 seconds, which is a lot. But once again, if you upgrade it, you'll get down to 1000 favor, 1000 test seconds, which doesn't sound all that too much. And you can also fulfill some auctions to get more favor points. So yeah, you're getting it for free as well. So once you get this level 1 favor point system, whatever, I think what you get is like 1500 resources plus access to the ability, which increases your income around several planets. So it's quite a nice thing to have. Now let's go back to our ships. We can send them to this asteroid to have some battles. Yeah. Also can enjoy a few new models like this. Yeah, there's as I said, you start with the metal crystal. You also start with 6 exotics, and there is another new mechanic for Vasari, which is phase resonance. Phase resonance is a boost system where you can assign points to mobility, combat, or utility. In mobility, you go from just speed boost to speed boost plus phase jump speed boost. In combat, you get weapon damage, weapon reload speed, and phase missile bypass for the shields. And in utility, you get ability antimatter cost reduction and ability cooldown reduction. Now, but what is this phase resonance system? There is on the tooltip at the bottom at the right, you can see available resonance at 1. This means that this planet can provide me with 1 resonance point, and the closer to the star you are, the more points you will get. So like this ice planet is really close to the star, it's 1 jump away, and you are getting 3 resonance points here. But how to harvest the resonance points? And this is where special buildings for Vasari come in. They don't have a trade port, but they have this phase resonator unlocked in second technology tier, which you can build only 1 per planet, and it will automatically harvest the point. So like if I would build it here, I would get 1 resonance point. If I built it on the ice near the star, I would get 3 points. And the upgrades get more costly progressively. So like first upgrade is just 1 point, second is 3 points, 6 points, and so on. Also, important thing to remember is that you cannot reassign those points for balance reasons, because otherwise you would be just like full mobility while you're not fighting, then full combat, etc. So once you have assigned those points, they stick. And another thing, now how to use those boosts. Those boosts are applied to your ships automatically whenever they jump for 4 minutes. So like if my ships jump, make a jump from this planet to any planet, they will be boosted for 4 minutes with whatever bonuses I have here. And you can also extend the length of this boost up to 6 minutes. So that's quite a long time. Now let's talk about more convenient or like more standard Sins 2 features, which are ship components. Ship components are all the same for all Vasari capital ships. We'll look at the ships a bit later, but let's talk about the components now. We have a damage component, which is available directly from the start. It's nothing crazy, it's like 600 damage. Then we have a few weapon boost modules, like extra beam damage, extra phase missile damage, and extra wave damage. But as you can see in the tooltip, those two are locked in tier 3, which is mid-game, and the phase missile damage is locked in tier 4, which is more of a late-game feature. Now, a more interesting or viable module is a defense module, which is self-repairing armor. It gives you passively plus 50 armor, which is already strong by itself, but you can use it once every 5 minutes for 100 antimatter and instantly restore 20% of your hit points, which is really crazy. And it's also like available in tier 1, so you can get it like in early game. Now, another thing you can upgrade your ship is bomber armor, which doubles your bomber's hit points. And now I remember to tell you that Vasari actually are using only bombers. There are no fighters for them. I'm not sure if that's going to stay for the release, but for now it's like just the bombers. And we continue with the utility slots. So this non-repair swarm is somewhat different to what you're used to with TES. It allows you to repair other ships, but just for 150 hit points, not so crazy. I think I really like about Vasari, which is going to be very useful, maybe OP useful, is the Vask Tacticians. It's available to you also at the start of the game in just tier 1, and it's a stronger experience boost module than it is for TES. So it comes in earlier, and it's a stronger thing because you get more from the relict experience, you get more from killing ships, and you can level your capital ships really fast. Now, because Vasari are a mobile race, you can opt to install a mobile exotic factory to produce exotics from your capital ship. Not really a crazy item, but it's like an interesting lore item. There we have a unique item, which is Resonance Amplifier, which increases resonance duration by 125%. It's a late game item, which would in theory boost your resonance buff from 6 minutes to, what is it, like 14 minutes. So yeah, like your capital ships would constantly be buffed, and like because it's late game, imagine having just constantly 10% damage, 6% reduced cooldown, 10% bypass shield chance. So yeah, that's quite a strong item. Now we come to star bases. In Sins 2, it's not the Jarun Migrator, not the Colony Frigate, which can construct star bases, but it's the capital ships. So your capital ship can deploy star bases, any capital ship with the respective technology. Then more of a standard module for antimatter regeneration. And finally, a late game technology to deploy phase resonator. So, like in theory, you could jump in on a planet you're currently fighting with an enemy, and instantly deploy a phase resonator, getting like extra 3 points, which you could then use to even boost your army even more. So, like an interesting thing. And here I think we could actually switch up to a save I have prepared. Actually, the new addition is the after game stats, and let's go here. So now let's discuss technologies first. The civilian tree doesn't introduce a lot of juicy stuff. It's more of normal empire expansion stuff. You can colonize planets, you can upgrade planets, your culture boosts your income, just as it does for TES. An interesting thing is that if your planet is under your culture influence, you receive minus 50 bombing damage, which is quite a lot. Yeah. Then you have 2 lines of income upgrades. One is for asteroid mining, another upgrade line, yeah, it's for your planetary income. So let me close this very fast. So like this is the income which is boosted by that technology. It's it may be a bit confusing, but overall it's like the middle line is for planetary income, the upper line is for your orbital extractors. Yeah, so like a lot of standard stuff, phase detection, just as in Sin 1 you can potentially detect all of the phase jumps. Phase resonator, which comes in tier 2. A few phase technologies like phase jump speed plus 200% between friendly gravity wells, very helpful if you are trying to save your capital ship and you need to jump back and forth between gravity wells. Also the increase in duration for the resonance, which can be boosted in once again. And yeah, finally you can unlock the item we talked about. Jump inhibitor in tier 3. And yeah, another boost to how fast your ships are with the phase jumping. Overall, more like there are a lot of lore additions to the game. So Vasari do feel way more lore-wise. When we are talking about gameplay, if you are playing with your allies or test allies, an interesting thing would be to unlock the Quarnium forging. So Quarnium is the most rare exotic resource, which for Tess I think it's like tier 5, but for Vasari you can unlock it in tier 3 and trade it to your allies so that they can probably like rush a Titan or something. Yeah, you also have this planet module you can unlock for credit income. In this playthrough I have saved, I actually have 5 credits per second, even without that planet module, because in auctions you can win this module, Smuggler's Den, which gives you 2.5 credits. So yeah, there are ways to earn credits for Vasari. So far for civilian technologies, oh yeah, maybe like there are 5 tiers just as there are for TES, and you're getting metal income, not credit income, by unlocking next tier. Now the military tree. Here are a few more juicy things. The tier upgrades are pretty much similar to TES stuff. However, there are a few things which feel like really crazy strong and also more lore accurate. So for example, you can get plus 105% hull regeneration already in tier 2. So basically in early game combat, your ships are going to have plus 105% regeneration. Combine that like with the extra hull points you get as Vasari, maybe a few extra armor upgrades, and also Vasari Rebel specific upgrade for extra hull armor and max hull points, and you get insane regeneration on your ships. Yeah, the standard since 1 Vasari Rebel tech for extra shield mitigation. Now, as I mentioned, star bases are deployed by capital ships. It comes a bit later into the game. It's tier 3 technology, but both defensive and offensive star bases are tier 3 technology. Now in tier 4 there comes a crazy strong technology which makes your deployment time in enemy gravity wells go down to just minus 50%, or in Synth's methods probably just minus 33%. So yeah, really strong technology. Yes, so that's a module. You get probably it's because it's Vasari Rebel. I'm not sure if it's going to be for Vasari Lawless, but you get phase missile bypass chance and a phase missile damage. So in theory, you can get 20% extra bypass shield chance. The base is 30%. With this technology, you get 50%. Now with max resonance, you get plus 10%. So your phase missiles will have 60% bypass shield chance. And on top of that, you're also going to boost their raw damage simply with those normal technologies. Yeah, so that's a late game technology, but it sounds strong. Then we get like early game. There's our diplomats can be boosted with the 2 manufacturing favor points, as I mentioned. Those 7 overseers, they're now giving us 2 points per second, which is also quite handy. And yeah, what you may notice here is that we have 2 Corvette prototypes in the tech tree. It's not a mistake, it's actually a design, and we can now begin talking about ships. So Vasari ships, what do they have to offer? First of all, Vasari ship roster is a little bit different. You are not, you don't have as many frigates, you have more cruisers. However, at least in the current patch, you can build frigates and cruisers from the standard an assembly factory, and you can summon bigger ships like capital ships and titans from the fleet beacon. It doesn't look like a fleet beacon for now, however, it actually summons ships in, so they are not built in that like structure. They fly in through the phase space once you complete the construction. Yeah, so ships. We have Ravastra Skirmisher, pretty similar to what we have seen in Sins 1. Now, a different thing is the Kanraka Salient, as it has a completely different design. And I'm not so sure how useful it's in the current patch, because we have like flag, fine defense meta, but the stats look decent. And we have a corvette. There are two corvette types. We are going to talk about the normal corvette design. It brings decent DPS, decent speed, decent stats. However, we can also take a look at the other corvette, which is here. If we compare stats, Tosurak Defensor has about 900 hit points. This one has about 800 hit points. It's less. The normal corvette has about 10 DPS. This corvette has about 3.5, 3.6 DPS. Now, why would you build a corvette which has less hit points and less DPS? Well, the thing is that the Tosurak Raider has an ability, and this ability gives him plus 30 damage per each strike, gives him 300 armor penetration. The extra damage is against structures only. Yeah, so armor penetration against structures, and 300 is a lot. It's enough to penetrate even the defensive structures. You get metal salvage and crystal salvage from attacks, and we'll look at them a bit later, but this is an incredible corvette. It's the fastest ship in the game. You also get extra speed from your resonance boosts, and you can just run through the enemy's empire without any repercussions. But for now, let's switch to the cruisers, or maybe a tiny look at the bomber. Yeah, that's the bomber. Now to the cruisers. Since 2 is being consistent, we had a change for the Kodiaks for Tess, which was a heavy cruiser, and we are having even bigger change for the Vasari heavy cruiser, which was Karovas Enforcer in the original game. Now it's the Kortovas Oppressor. It gives me somehow old Greek mythology vibes, the design. And yeah, otherwise it's just your standard heavy cruiser with heavy weapons and a point defense gun. Now let's talk. Yeah, Severn Overseer, we talked about him. It's the diplomat. It looks kind of similar to what it was in Sins 1, with a few additions like those details here. It's no longer a healer, it's a diplomat with the possibility to a debuff of enemy ships. German Migrator, a colony frigate, which no longer can build star bases, so it's your ship just for colonization. Lasurak Transporter looks very similar to what we are used to from Sins 1, just a few more details like the tiny bombers. It also has a point defense gun, or even 2 point defense guns, additionally to its bombers. Now, yeah, another Migrator. And now 2 unique ships, unique to Sins 2. Gisotra Fabricator Cruiser, which allows you to construct frigates directly on the battlefield. I'm not so sure how useful it will be for like competitive multiplayer, but for single player lore vibes it's really interesting, because you can dive in deep into enemy territory, you can build ships there, you can like get this feeling of Vasari being a really a nomadic race. Now this is like his base thing, but you can upgrade him with technologies. You can give him the retrofit ability. Retrofit ability is the same the repairing base I have for faster ship modules. So This ship allows you to get ship models installed on your capital ships during like nomadic journeys across the universe. And you can also get 10% salvage from killing enemy ships, which is also pretty decent. It's a late game tag, so in late game sounds cool. And another new ship is the Tosurak Penetrator, which has an anti-structure beam with a lot of penetration. Yeah, just a new design, but no special abilities beyond that. And we can continue to capital ships if I get my controls under control. Yeah, we have already seen the Jerusalem Evacuator, and now we can talk a bit more about the abilities. So, colonization ability is similar to what we have seen in Sins 1. Gravity Warhead is similar. New ability is Subspace Rupture. It replaced the single target damage to AoE target, AoE damage, and the ultimate is, at least for now, the same. Now, here is the Skiranta Carrier, which is much bigger than like Cortul Devastator, but you have to keep in mind that stat-wise it's still kind of squishy. It has more than 1k less hit points. But yeah, overall it's like it has a few new abilities. For example, Land Armor, which provides extra armor to a ship of your decision. The heal from Sins 1, a bomber buff, some kind of mix of Sins 1 Tess and the thing Vasari had in Sins 1, and the ultimate is the same. Now to Volcorus Desolator, it's pretty much all the same abilities, maybe somewhat different stats, but I don't have them in my head, so yeah, like design wise it's the same. Antarak Marauder has same abilities except the ultimate. The ultimate is a stronger version of your phase out hull skill, as it phases the ship out for 30 seconds, but also restores 50% hull, 50% shield, and 50% antimatter. So a nice saving ability. Also maybe like a minor change is that Distort Gravity is a passive, so you don't activate it, but it also gives you less than it did while it was an active ability in Sins 1. Corto Devastator, first ability is the same as Sins 1. Second ability, Gem Weapons, is jamming not the Strikecraft but the military ships of enemy, reducing their reload speed. Third ability, in Sins 1 it was a passive to burn enemy antimatter. Now it burns enemy armor, which is a nice interesting change. And the ultimate is the same. Now let's go to the Titan. The Titan has similar abilities as it did in Sins 1, or almost identical abilities. However, the change comes in with the modules. All capital ships had the same modules we discussed, but Titan gets a few extra. So for example, you have those kind of modules which boost your abilities or range of those abilities. You also can get an extra weapon for phase missiles. It's not all too crazy because Kulturask already has 3 times the phase missile, and this upgrade gives him the 4th missile. But still, 52 DPS is quite strong, multiplied by bypass shield chance. You can use similar modules as on capital ships for extra beam, missile, wave damage, and a unique module is Kulturask Phase Cannon with 109 DPS and 960 armor penetration. Now for comparison, the strongest weapon it usually has, Phase Missile, sits at 52 DPS, so half of that, and only 174 armor penetration. This Gigachat Cannon has 960. Even our anti-building new ship, if I find it. Yeah, Vulrak Penetrator has 350 armor penetration. This one 960. Yeah. Similar self-repairing module, however, on a Titan, 20% of hull points restored is kind of crazy. Your normal extra hull points module, second tier of it, the capital ship for bomber buff. A few similar modules, however, the Vask Tactician is probably even more valuable on the Titan because you're going to level up him faster. Mobile Exotic Factory, Resonance Amplifier we talked about, also can deploy starbases. Mobile Fleet Beacon allows Titan to summon ships directly, however, it doesn't get any speed production boost, so like if you get this module, it's basically just a Jusotra Fabricator Cruiser flying with you, because you're summoning units directly at the battlefield, but it's like the same role, there are no extra speed or buffed stats whatsoever. Antimatter Regeneration, deploy Phase Resonator just as capital ships, and a unique thing, deploy Phase Gate, which allows you to deploy a Phase Gate on an enemy planet. However, it's an ultra late game technology, as you can see, even though I'm pretty far into the technology tree, it still wants a final price of 10k metal and 11k crystals. But yeah, for late game, sure, interesting. Now, yeah, Starbase, nothing special here, except Orculus Phase Jump Drive allows you to jump between planets. You don't need the Phase Gate Stabilizer. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Just the regular upgrade, weapon upgrades, hull upgrades, strike-off upgrades. But yeah, now is the time to talk about structures for short. Structures, I said. You have your normal structure set of non-assembly factory for frigates and cruisers, culture, exotic refinery, research lab, phase gate similar to Sins 1, fleet beacon for capital ships, phase resonator for the phase resonance boosts. Your military structures are the standard phase missile platform, regeneration bay, champ inhibitor. Pulse gun defense is is basically a rework of the Sins 1 thing, as it's now just a gun. It has a downside. I may show it on another planet, not this one though. Not this planet. Yeah, like here. This is how pulse gun looks like, and you can see on like 3 sides you have those extensions, and they cannot rotate 360 degrees, so potentially you could get like behind this turret and shoot at it. However, it still provides more DPS than a phase missile, but it doesn't get the phase missile bypass shield chance. So probably against Advent you would want the phase missile turret, but against Tess you usually want the pulse gun defenses. And finally, we can talk about the Tosurak Raider corvettes. Yes. So let's demonstrate them. Let's attack and not expecting AI with our corvettes. As a reminder, they have ability for extra damage on structures and also getting resources from dealing damage. Also quite a beautiful animation for phase jump. Now another feature I added is that you can now zoom out and actually see a similar like tab of ships flying, similar to planets, so you can actually see how many are there. You can also see future planet orbits, how they move.
Let's pick a fight.
And let's go. So let's say you want to destroy the orbital research station. Those are costly in Sins 2. They are like 800 resources for the player. By the way, since we jumped, you can see now phase resonance, 300 seconds. I get 25% speed, 15% jump speed, weapon damage, and ability antimatter cost. And while I was talking, I didn't get to show you here. Look below these resources. Once corvette fire, You can see 15 corvettes per their salvo get me 100 metal and 100 crystal while dealing around 1k damage to the structure, or like 1k 30. So by killing a station, I'm getting around 800 resources. I'm also denying my enemy 800 resources, and one corvette is just 200 resources. So this fleet is worth of 3k resources, and I'm going to make them profitable just after killing like 2 research stations. Now let's speed up.
Yes.
We see an enemy jumping in, but we can still finish this research station, and since our phase resonance is still active for another 3 minutes, we will be able to fly away from them. So yeah, 2 stations destroyed, pretty huge fleet chasing, but we don't care. We can jump, we have extra speed, still 100 seconds.
Jumping into phase.
Jumping out, let's go for the capital planet.
Jumping into phase space.
And here we are.
On the move.
We can attack another orbital research station. And even though enemy is reacting, because how fast those corvettes are at killing structures, you can abuse it quite a lot. And it's likely to be patched, so for the time being of this patch, go out into the multiplayer, get your friends in, and abuse the hell out of them while this isn't patched out and they didn't watch this video, so you can just be the best friend you can be and destroy them, annihilate them, and yeah. So as you can see, still 15 corvettes, no losses taken. Ships are trying to chase.
Yes.
We can speed up, because after this I will be switching to next part of this review.
On the move.
Yeah, and fleet jumped in, but we are jumping out. All 15 corvettes are still alive, and we can rejoin with our main fleet. Now,
I need orders.
for the final part of this review, let's show how the big battles work,
Will be done.
or just enjoy the big fight.
Awaiting what would you ask of me? Phase engines engaging. Moving forward.
And we'll be fighting the pirates.
Phase engines engaging.
So here we are. All our ships are boosted with the phase resonance. Even the Titan is boosted with the phase resonance. And now we can enjoy the battle.
Awaiting new prey. Awaiting new prey.
As you can see, pirates are dealing a lot of damage with the pirate corsairs, because those are actually buffed Harkras.
Moving forward.
Our Titan begins dropping health, so we're going to activate his ability to heal based on the amount of surrounding enemies. And probably move him a bit backwards, because yeah, the amount of pirates, the amount of DPS pirates are bringing in is crazy.
Awaiting new prey. Which enemy will be done? Awaiting new prey. By your command. Moving forward. It will be done. Which enemy will be first? It will be done. Don't waste my time. Which enemy will be first? It will be done. Moving forward. By your command. It will be done.
There we can see our Titan repairing like 100 hit points per second
Ready
while
to
the ability is
engage.
active.
By your command. Moving forward. Reckon me.
Our heavy cruiser has died. No enemy heavy cruisers,
Ready to engage. Moving forward.
but at least we have saved our Titan for the time being.
Which enemy will be first? It will be done. Moving forward. Awaiting. Moving forward. Prey.
So yeah, that's the Vasari update. Thank you for enjoying it, and see you on the battlefield.